What is up, ladies and gentle nerds? It's your boy Graham, also known as HamHocks42 on the internet, and today we are playing a historic deck, or an historic deck if you want to be that guy, and I do. So we are playing an historic deck that is built around Yorion, Sky, and Nomad. Now this is the Sky Noodle. We all know and love the Sky Noodle, or know and hate the Sky Noodle. Either way, this card is well known, well loved, and it's all about blinking. So if you're not familiar with Yorion, for some reason, it's a very powerful. It's been a very powerful and popular card since Ikoria. So I assume you're probably aware of it. But if not, it's a 4/5 flyer for 5 in Azorius colors, 2 hybrid white-blue. When Yorion enters the battlefield, exile any number of other non-land permanents you own and control. Return those cards to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. So it's all about blinking your permanents out of existence and then bringing them back in. Now, Yorion is an enabler. It is not the key focus of the deck. Now, the deck is capable of firing without seeing Yorion. Now, that said, if Yorion shows up, excellent. We can do a lot of great things with it. And as a result, we have one in the companion zone. Also, there are a ton of just great cards that synergize with blinking. So the fact that Yorion requires, in order for Yorion to be your companion, it requires that you have 80 cards in your deck, which is fine. Like, absolutely fine, if you ask me. All right, so what cards do we have that can really leverage that blink effect and really make it sing? Now, there's one card from Alchemy that is clutch. It absolutely makes this deck fire. And to be honest, this is an older deck that I built a while ago that I've just taken the dust off because of this new card. It really makes the deck sing. And that card is Inquisitor Captain. Now, Inquisitor Captain is a new card that says when it enters the battlefield, if there are 20 or more creature cards with mana value 3 or less among cards in your graveyard, hand, and library, seek 2 creature cards with mana value 3 or less. Put one of them onto the battlefield and shuffle the other into your library. So what that's saying is if you have 20 critters in your library, basically, library, graveyard, hand, or so if you have 20 more creatures, not necessarily in play, but in other zones, then all of a sudden this becomes Collected Company on a stick, kind of. Now, Collected Company, you get 2 creatures with mana value 3 or less, and they go directly onto the battlefield. With Inquisitor Captain, you get to seek 2 random creatures with mana value 3 or less, and you get to pick one and put that one on the battlefield. So Inquisitor Captain is incredibly powerful, especially if you are blinking it or cloning it, because then you get multiple enter the battlefield triggers each turn. Fantastic. Now, there's a card that makes this incredibly powerful, and that is Soulherder. So Soulherder, you'll notice, is a 1/1 for 3 mana, which means Inquisitor Captain can fetch it up. And Soulherder says whenever a creature is exiled from the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on Soulherder. Great. So as we're blinking our stuff, it's just going to be getting bigger. But wait, there's more. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile another target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Blinking. We can immediately, if we use the Inquisitor Captain and manage to hit the Soulherder, we can actually use the Soulherder to immediately blink the Inquisitor Captain at the end step and get another trigger, which could potentially grab another Soulherder perhaps, or a number of other amazing toolbox creatures that we have in here. We also have Thassa Deep Dwelling because at the end step, she blinks. To be honest, this is actually a relatively slow card that Soulherder, frankly, fills the job better. So this is one of those cards where I'm down to 3 Thassas. I had 4 in the original build of this deck because it's a very powerful card, but I think, to be honest, we can do better. Thassa is probably a little bit slow and is slow for this deck, although it does produce repeatability, which is definitely meaningful, and it has the ability pay 3 and a blue, tap target creature, so we can tap creatures down before attacking, which is also very useful. If our opponent has 1 pesky blocker and we have like a 15/15 Soulherder because we've just been blinking all our stuff left and right, being able to tap that 1 pesky blocker down and swing in for the win, there's a use for that for sure. So it's a good mana sink late in the game, as well as being a repeatable engine. We also have 3 Yorions in the main deck, in addition to the one in the companion slot. That is because Yorion is fantastic, especially if we are able to blink Yorion alongside alongside Inquisitor Captain and whatnot. So we have a couple of phenomenal 3-drops and 2-drops, not to mention some 1-drops that Inquisitor Captain can go fetch up. We have Brutal Cathar. This is a removal spell on a body. When this creature enters the battlefield or transforms into Brutal Cathar, exile target creature an opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield. Any creature, it just exiles them until Brutal Cathar leaves the battlefield. It's Oblivion Ring on a body, and Inquisitor Captain can fetch it up. Dope. Excellent. We also have Elite Spellbinder. This is a card that taxes spells in your opponent's hand, and it's a 3/1 flyer for 3. This is capable of producing some excellent value and providing the beatdown that we need to win the game in the end. Skyclave Apparition is also a phenomenal blink target. And actually, I would say Skyclave Apparition next to Soulherder is one of the best things we can hit off the Inquisitor Captain, because if we can blink the Skyclave Apparition multiple times, we have an opportunity to completely eliminate our opponent's plan, whatever it is. Because Skyclave Apparition enters the battlefield, you exile up to 1 target non-land, non-token permanent you don't control with mana value 4 or less. And when Skyclave Apparition leaves the battlefield, they get a token that's an illusion with mana value equal to the card exiled with Skyclave Apparition. So if they have something like a Trail of Crumbs, a Witch's Oven, something that is capable of producing an insane amount of value, we can exile it with Skyclave Apparition. This can include creatures as well, by the way. We can exile it with Skyclave Apparition and then blink the Skyclave Apparition. They get a little vanilla token back that's a 1/1 or a 2/2 that's irrelevant in most situations. And then we get another Skyclave Apparition enter the battlefield trigger, and we get to exile yet another permanent. So that is incredibly valuable, and if we can get multiple blinks of a Skyclave Apparition, we have an opportunity to completely, like I said, negate what our opponent's plan is and give them a handful of vanilla tokens that they have to work with, which is a real feel-bad moment. We also have Glasspool Mimic. If you hit a Glasspool Mimic off of an Inquisitor, what will end up happening is Glasspool Mimic can enter the battlefield as a copy of the Inquisitor, and as a result, you get another trigger, and it puts a 3/3 Vigilant body onto the field. Oh, did I mention the Inquisitor Captain has Vigilance, and is a 3/3 for 4. Fantastic card, truly fantastic. And Glasspool Mimic gives us the opportunity to hit another one of those. Glasspool Mimic can also come into play as a copy of a Skyclave Apparition or a Brutal Cathar or another Soulherder perhaps, and really get our engine driving to the next level, which is exactly what we want. Driving to the next level, I think that's a mixed metaphor, but you know what? I stand by it. Anyway, what else do we have? We also have Charming Prince. When Charming Prince enters the battlefield, we can exile another creature and blink it immediately, scry 2, or gain 3 life. These are all ETBs that we want. It's also a 2/2 for 2. What more can you ask for? So again, if we hit this off the Inquisitor Captain, we can blink the Inquisitor Captain and immediately get another trigger. If we have this in play, we can also, there's an infinite loop with Charming Prince and Yorion, where when Yorion enters the battlefield, you exile Charming Prince. When Yorion brings Charming Prince back into the field, you blink Yorion, you exile. So, and then Yorion blinks out of existence, enters right away. Then you can exile the Charming Prince again and any other permanents that you have lying around. Rinse, repeat, you have an infinite loop of blink action. So that produces, I mean, you once per turn, you get some blink action. So Charming Prince is incredibly valuable, incredibly useful. Love to see it. We also have Clone Crafter. This is another alchemy card. It is a 1/2 for 2 that says when Clone Crafter enters the battlefield, conjure a duplicate of a random creature card from your opponent's library into your hand. It perpetually gains, you may spend mana as though or mana of any color to cast a spell. So Clone Crafter draws you a card from your opponent's deck, and it's guaranteed to be a creature. I've had a number of situations where I've hit creatures that have ETB triggers with this. I've hit a Town Razor Tyrant off of this, and then all of a sudden I have a Town Razor Tyrant, or a Cloudkin Seer, or another Brutal Cathar, or an Adeline, or not Adeline, that's a bad example, or another Skyclave Apparition, etc. That all of a sudden you can loop into the blink action because that card that you're conjuring up is owned by you. So when it exits the battlefield, if you use Ephemerate or a Charming Prince on it, for example, or Yorion, it enters the battlefield again under your control. One of the things about conjuring that is a little bit different than taking a card from your opponent. It's not quite the same. And so Clone Crafter is capable of doing some really cool things. And every time we blink Clone Crafter, we draw another card from our opponent. And so we conjure another, but we're not actually drawing cards from them, is the cool thing. We're conjuring cards based on their deck. And so we're generating cards based on their deck. So if Clone Crafter is able to pop off 2 or 3 times, we could potentially, if our opponent is running a strategy relying on creatures, we could mobilize our opponent's plan against them with this deck, just because Clone Crafter is here. Kind of cool. I like that card a lot, actually. You're able to do some cool things. We also have Fblthp the Lost. Fblthp is in here for one specific reason. One, I love Fblthp. This little guy's awesome. But beyond that, when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. So when Fblthp the Lost enters the battlefield, draw a card. If it entered from your library or was cast from your library, draw 2 cards instead, which is neat. We like that, but we're not going to get a chance to really take advantage of that very often, because I don't believe Inquisitor Captain... I believe when you seek a card, you put it into your hand. So Fblthp does not trigger off the Inquisitor Captain's ability. Or if we Inquisitor Captain into Fblthp, we will draw 1 card, not 2. We still draw a card, though, so that's useful. And every time Fblthp blinks, we draw a card. However, when Fblthp becomes the target of a spell, you shuffle it into its owner's library. So we cannot use our primary blink spell on Fblthp, which is fine, to be honest, because we're going to be using it on other things, too. Fblthp is also valuable in here because it is a 2-drop. We do not, as you'll notice, most of our curve is on 3. And that's by design. We have a lot of bomb 3-drops, which are the best things Inquisitor Captain can grab, and they all have great ETB triggers that we want to take advantage of with cards like Soulherder or Thassa, or Yorion, of course. Then we also have the last 2 cards that we have in our 1-drop slot. We have Ephemerate. Exile target creature you control, then return to the battlefield. It's just blink on a stick. That's all it does. It just blinks something once at instant speed, and then it rebounds. We can blink it again the following turn. If we can hit an Inquisitor Captain. The main goal of this deck is to hit those Inquisitor Captains and really pop off that way. If we don't hit the Inquisitor Captains, the other cards can still carry us, but it's really, really powerful when that pops off. But Ephemerate is a great way to protect our stuff and get additional ETB triggers. It also has Rebound, which means at the start of the following turn after we cast it, we can blink one of our things right away and get some additional value. Again, Inquisitor Captain, or any one of our removal spells like the Skyclave Apparition, you can do good things with that. Soul Warden is also in here for one very simple reason. One, it's a 1-drop. Nothing wrong with that. It also increases the number of creatures that we have in our library to make sure Inquisitor Captain fires, which is nice, but it also says whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. In this deck, I've gotten up to 50 life. Soul Warden is the only life gain that we have. But because we are blinking things so often and creatures are exiting the battlefield and entering the battlefield again, Soul Warden is capable of gaining a ton of life over the course of the game. And so it's a great way to add some survivability into the mix that also feeds off what we're trying to do. So that's the deck. I call it Historic Blink. It's very simple, very straightforward. It is all about blinking our stuff. It's Azorius. The way that this deck wins is by outvaluing the opponent. By generating an engine that is capable of drawing a lot of cards and shutting down our opponent's options, we are able to set up a board state and beat them to death in a way that is pretty fantastic with cards like Elite Spellbinder or the Inquisitor Captain themselves. So that's the idea behind the deck, or Clone Crafters to be able to pull our opponent's win cons from their deck and mobilize them as well. So that's the main idea. That's the idea. Soulherder. Oh, of course. Silly me. Soulherder also growing large means that it is capable of delivering a lot of pain in the late game as well. And so that's really important. So Soulherder is a key piece of our engine too. Also, phenomenal art by Seb McKinnon. I mean, the guy's amazing. We all know this, but seriously, beautiful artwork. Absolutely love it. Well, and the fact that Soulherder is a 1/1 and the artwork shows a creature that is very large, yet appears to be pretty frail, I think is interesting. Because it starts as a 1/1, but it gets larger. So I think that's an interesting way of capturing that. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about art, although, I mean, MTG art's great. Let's get into the gameplay. Let's take this deck out onto the ladder and see what we can do with it. And thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. So this hand has exactly what I want to see. It has the Inquisitor Captain. It also has the Elite Spellbinder and an Ephemerate. This is a snap keep. Let's go. Getting the Inquisitor Captain in the opening hand is clutch. It's very important to know where that card is at all times. As I often like to say, to quote Letterkenny, I'd rather be looking at it than looking for it. And here we are. We're looking at it. There it is right there. So we don't have a turn 1 or a turn 2, which is mildly problematic, but we can hit the Elite Spellbinder on 3, which is nice. Yoked Ox. 0-4 for 1. Interesting. Is this a big butts deck? Is this Boros butts? I'm not opposed to that idea. Interesting. Or is this a starter deck that we're somehow going up against? Well, we're in platinum in the ranked queue, and we're playing. Yeah, this is definitely toughness matters. It'll be interesting to see where they take it from here. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at their hand, shall we? Shall. All right, Cavalcade of Calamity. Cavalcade of Calamity is presumably the card that they're building around. Unbreakable Formation. I'm going to make Cavalcade a little bit more frustrating for them to get to. Cavalcade with 0 toughness creatures is very interesting. I'm liking our opponent's style. This is some quality jank here. It almost feels like they built this deck to see if they could. And I have mad respect for that. And we are going to drop an Inquisitor Captain on them and really frustrate them. And we got Brutal Cathar. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the Nyxfleet's Ram. And attack for 3 in the air. Thank you, Paolo. Appreciate you. So the Unbreakable formation can give them all +1, give them all a +1/+1 counters. That's not nothing. Oh, they drew into another Cavalcade. All right, cool, cool, cool. If they choose not to attack despite the Cavalcade, I can't blame them there. We're going to throw a Thassa. And there's really no point in attacking with the Inquisitor Captain at this point, even though there is Vigilance. So I am going to go ahead and blink it with Ephemerate. We're going to get another spin of the wheel. We are going to grab a Soulherder, and that Soulherder is going to do some good work for us. Elite Spellbinder's coming in. Ba-boom. Let's go. Soulherder is going to blink the Inquisitor Captain, and Thassa is going to blink the Elite Spellbinder. Bling, bling. Elite Spellbinder triggers, Soulherder triggers. I'm going to get rid of that tower defense because I know how important that is in Toughness Matters decks. And the Inquisitor Captain is going to spin again. I gotta say, I definitely am appreciating our opponent's style. That said, I am going to completely wreck it because I am a jerk. I like what they're bringing to the table. This is some quality jank. I definitely respect it. I like what they're doing. However, we do need to put a stop to it. I'm going to rebound the Ephemerate, linking the Inquisitor Captain. Inquisitor Captain is an incredibly powerful card. I will be shocked if it doesn't get nerfed in the newest, or, you know, in the next update, whenever they roll that out. Let's throw Castle Vantress here. Let's use Thassa to tap down the Aegis Turtle. And let's swing with the team, shall we? They just choose to take it. I can't blame them. All right, yeah, we were running away with that game. But there we go, game 1 in the books. The deck did exactly what it was supposed to do, and I'm pretty happy about that, actually. I think that played well. All right, cool. Let's go on to game 2. All right, so we have a Soulherder, Brutal Cathar, and a Charming Prince in the opening hand. I'm feeling pretty good about that. So, yeah, Charming Prince plus Brutal Cathar. We're going to probably throw the Soulherder on 3 unless they're applying a ton of pressure to our face, which is not impossible by any stretch. Charming Prince, we're going to scry 2 off this. And to be honest, if we don't see an Inquisitor Captain in one of these first 2 cards, we're probably going to bottom them. Oh, man. Ask and you shall sometimes receive. There's the Inquisitor Captain. I'm going to let Yorion go because we already have another one in hand. Boom. So we're going to have Soulherder on 3 into Inquisitor Captain on 4. That is some devastating stuff. Goblin Archaeomancer. Not bad, not bad. All right, this is going to come down as a white mana source. Goblin Archaeomancer, each spell you cast that's red or green costs 1 less. I think I'm going to Soul Herd here. So we're going up against Gruul, potentially a Gruul aggro situation. So life gain is meaningful here, but I think I'm going to scry Clonecrafter. Another Charming Prince is actually really useful. Actually, you know what? Let's go like that. All right, which means we're going to miss a land drop, but we're going to have 4 mana available, so I think we'll live. We're also going to have the Brutal Cathar down, which is going to be really useful. And Inquisitor Captain is going to potentially shake things up for us. So I'm pretty happy about that. So next turn, we're going to shock in that Hallowed Fountain, play out the Inquisitor Captain, see what we spin into. Coco. All right. All right. 3 mana Coco. That's pretty good. Into a Burning Tree Emissary and a Seasoned Pyromancer. Also pretty good. All right. The opponent's doing some work here. I'm not even mad. Discarding some elves. Okay. So this is Gruul Coco. I gotta say, not bad. Good work, opponent. Good work. Rage Forger. Shamans. Oh, this is probably Shamans. Yeah. Shaman. Oh, of course it's Shaman. Silly me. Silly me. No blocks. Come on in. Welcome to my face. Has all of those sweet, sweet amenities. All right, we're going to go ahead and shiggity shock that in. Inquisitor Captain, do your thing. Do that crazy voodoo that you do so well. Going to hit a Soulherder and Clonecrafter. I think I'm going to take the Soulherder because that's going to allow us to blink the Charming Prince and gain a bunch of life, which is pretty rad. So we're going to first things first blink the Inquisitor Captain. And then blink the Charming Prince. Charming Prince is going to trigger. Let's gain that sweet, sweet life. Bling, bling. Boom goes the Inquisitor Captain again. Ching, ching, ching. Uptick, uptick, uptick. This time we played the Skyclave Apparition, and I believe we exiled the Seasoned Pyromancer. Get that homie gone. All right, and we now have a 5/5 and a 4/4 Soulherder. Pretty good. Those things especially work well in multiples, it would seem. All right. I think we throw the Brutal Cathar next turn. Wow. Double Burning Tree Emissary. They have a lot of mana at their disposal, and they have 4 cards in hand. They've got something to play. Harmonic Prodigy, pretty good card. Ooh, double Harmonic Prodigy. I don't like that. I really don't like that. But our opponent saw the writing on the wall. With the Skyclave Apparition down and double Soulherders, we were going to be able to just slowly eat their board and turn them all into vanilla creatures. So they didn't like that, and they decided to scoop it on up. All right, so they've seen enough. Moving on to game 3, ladies and gentlemen. So far, feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good about this deck. Going up against King Conan. Let's do this thing. All right, so we got the Brutal Cathar, the Elite Spellbinder, and our boy Fblthp in the opening hand. But we don't have a land that can enter the battlefield untapped. I think it's a mull. Yeah. As much as I don't like mulliganing, let's let Yorion go. This is so much better. Now, we don't have a play until turn 3, but we can use the Brutal Cathar if we absolutely have to. Ooh, and we got another Inquisitor Captain. Let's go. So having Soulherder and Inquisitor Captain in the opening hand, those two together just make my heart sing. They make it go pitter patter, and it makes me happy. So let's get at her. I've been quoting Letterkenny a lot recently. I hope you don't mind. Resplendent Angel. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 4 more life, create a 4/4 Angel token with Vigilante. Don't love that. Not gonna lie. Don't love it. So let's go ahead and eat it. Nom 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 nom. Soulherder was probably still the correct answer there, but I wanted to minimize our opponent's board. Soulherder into the Inquisitor Captain was probably the correct answer, because next turn, being able to play the Inquisitor Cap... We're going to play the Inquisitor Captain next turn for sure. That's a Windmill Slam on 3. Ixalan's Binding. Bummer, yo. That's all right. I'd rather have them hit the Ixalan's Binding on the Brutal Cathar, though, because Inquisitor Captain can still pull it up. Ixalan's Binding, I believe, says opponents can't cast spells with the same name exiled. That's kind of... That's handy. We're going to grab the Skyclave Apparition here. It is going to grab the Ixalan's Binding, which is going to bring us the Brutal Cathar, which is going to blink out the Angel again. Boom! Let's go. All right. That was a nice sequence. Felt good. Not going to lie. Another Ixalan's Binding. Don't love that. This time going after the Skyclave Apparition. Aight. Fair enough. Gives him a 4/4. That's nothing to sneeze at. All right, Inquisitor Captain. Let's go. What are we spinning to? Soulherder time. Do. Soulherder time. Blinking the Captain again. Let's go. What are we going to spin into this time? A Charming Prince or a Soul Warden? Think about the Charming Prince, because the Charming Prince can blink our Inquisitor Captain one more time. And another one. All right. So Inquisitor Captain's going to enter. Wrath of God. Hey, bummer, yo. But our Charming Prince Inquisitor Captain survived. Woohoo! Let's draw a card from their library with the Clone Crafter rather than drawing a card from our library with Fblthp. And we steal a Soul Warden. That's actually fantastic. I'll take it. All right. The Herder of Souls. Soul Warden's going to trigger. All right. So actually, you know what? We accidentally played around the Wrath perfectly. So that was nice. Not going to lie. Charming Prince again is going to blink out the Inquisitor Captain one more time. And our Soulherder is going to get swole. Our Soulherder, if you will. Gotta say, I'm digging the Charming Prince. It's definitely making these board wipes that our opponent has a little less effective, which is nice. And they're probably going to hit us with another one because they really want to get rid of the Soulherder, which I can't blame them. But there's a non-zero chance we blink into another one. Inquisitor Captain's back, ladies and gentlemen. Charming Prince, let's go. This is rad, ladies and gentlemen. I am having a ton of fun with this, not going to lie. Charming Prince beats. Let's do it. Captain's back again. Tell a friend. Brutal Cathar, Charming Prince. We're getting crazy with the princes. Because 1-2 princes kneel before you. So go ahead now. Yes, that was a Spin Doctors reference. To all of you Spin Doctors fans out there. There's no way I'm the only one. All right, Soulherder. Soulherder yet again. We are drawing an insane number of lands this game. Just throwing that out there. Truly insane. Yorion, let's go noodle. Boom. Soulherder going off. This is kind of getting absurd, and I like it. We're going to Skyclave Apparition the Excellence Binding, which is also going to allow us to Skyclave Apparition the Ajani's Welcome. And we are going to use Yorion to blink out the world again, so our Soulherder can get especially large. We do give them access to a couple of vanilla tokens, which is not the end of the world. It's not amazing, but it's fine. And they have another Enduring Angel, which is mildly problematic, but not the end of the world. I am going to trade Yorion for that Enduring Angel. The trade I'm willing to make. And Yorion blinks in the world. Let's get another Inquisitor Captain in the mix. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we still have another Inquisitor Captain in exile that was bound to arrive before long. Glasspool Mimic's coming into play as a copy of Inquisitor Captain. Let's go. Glasspool Mimic. Brutal Cathar is coming into play to eat that Enduring Angel. Oh, but it's nighttime. Just kidding. Just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Soulherder coming in. We were unable to double spell because we only drew into the one creature, so we aren't able to switch it to daytime, which is mildly unfortunate. Not gonna lie. Not the end of the world, just mildly unfortunate. They chump that all day, which is the correct answer. We're gonna blink the Inquisitor Captain. Or the Glasspool Mimic, but it's gonna come back into play as a copy of Inquisitor Captain. Let's draw a card off Fblthp. Seems D's. Skyclave Apparition. All right, cool. Not mad at that. Good card. It doesn't really do much here unless they play out another permanent that we can target with it, because the Enduring Angel costing 5 means that it's just out of sight. Resplendent Angel is a Skyclave Apparition target, though, so that's nice. All right, Thassa, Deep Dwelling, yet another Blink engine. Let's go. In addition to a Blink engine, it also has the ability to tap permanents that our opponent has, which is very handy. So the Soulherder is going to be coming in, as are the 2 Moonrage Brutes. I am not going to swing the Inquisitors because I want to keep them back. Now, we might lose 1 Moonrage Brute here, but they have to. I mean, they don't have to block here. They could take all of this to the face and go down to 1. So that is an option. All right, they choose not to, but goodbye board. Soulherder's going to trigger. Thassa's going to trigger. We're going to blink out. We're going to blink out the Glasspool Mimic. It's going to come into play as another... Oh my goodness, this is redonkulous, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We're going to get a Soul Warden. We're going to then blink out our Inquisitor Captain. This board state is unreal. I got to say, huge thank you to our opponent, King Conan, for being a good sport about this. All right. Yeah, this board is getting out of hand, to say the least. I'm actually realizing that my camera is in the way of it. So here, let me see if here this mode, we can see the board state a little more clearly. Yeah, this is ridiculous, and I'm very happy about it. They're counting up the math. Did they draw into the Wrath is the question. They do have a Castle Ardenvale as well, so they can create one chump block token to account for the Soulherder. Never mind, Thassa's tap ability will be okay. We'll be able to get around it. Yeah, next turn, I mean, if they don't have a board wipe, we attack with all, and that's game. And I can show you how, because when they create the Castle Ardenvale token, Thassa Deep Dwelling has the ability to pay 3 and a blue to tap another target creature. So when they create the token before they move to blockers, we tap the creature down and the Soulherder gets through. So this could be Assault Rope. It also could be them trying to find an out. And I can't blame them. Like, this is a good situation to really be looking for an out. And there's a time and a place for that. Now it has reached that time. But at this point, they only have one card left in hand and a Castle Ardenvale that they can activate once. Excuse me. Yeah, so this deck, this Blink deck with Inquisitor Captain is shockingly consistent. And I gotta say, pretty darn good. Fblthp and Clonecrafter are surprisingly great additions, but Inquisitor Captain is the star of the show. This thing is unreal. And being able to loop it with Thassa, Yorion, Princes, the Glasspool Mimic to create copies of it, and of course Soulherder. It's nuts. This card is absolutely bonkers. Like I said, I will be shocked if they don't nerf this at some point in the near future. So get in there while the getting's good. Get in there now. It was a Castle Ardenvale that they had drawn. Yeah, that's not going to do it. Sorry, buddy. King Conan, good game, my friend. Thank you. I don't actually know King Conan, but good game all the same. If you were out there, King Conan, thank you for that game. I appreciate you. You were an excellent sport, and that means the world. So, all right, everybody, thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it very, very much. So, yeah, Blinks. 3-0. We did it, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentle nerds, I should say. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe to the channel. The subscribers to the channel is actually a very important metric, and so that's one of those that it makes a world of difference. So if you want to support the channel and spend $0, that is a wonderful way to do so. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks so much.